This 18th and 19th century, Africans have been having to suffer from prejudice through violence and discrimination. The mistreatment needs to stop now. Come join the Pan-African Congress and Association. Help play your role in helping to end racism. Don't just do nothing, do something right. The Pan-African Congress and Association is the peacemaker for decolonization in Africa and the West Indies. One of the major demands is to end colonial rule and racial discrimination. There are many reasons why you should join the organization. Some of the biggest reasons are labor exploitation, unfair taxation towards African Americans, and splitting of African traditions and values. All of these problems have been caused by European colonization, and we must push back and have our own sense of nationalism. Now, don't get us wrong. There have been many good things like a booming economy, education, and sanitization/medicine, but we have to make sure we don't lose sight of our goal. There are some problems with a lack of political development between the 1870s and 1900s. Most of these problems are going on in southern Africa, but we can see the problem is also affecting other parts of Africa under European colonization.
Africa faced European imperialist aggression, diplomatic pressures, military invasions, and eventual conquest and colonization. At the same time, African societies put up various forms of resistance against the attempt to colonize their countries and impose foreign domination. Imperialism disrupted traditional African ways of life, political organization, and social norms. Stand with the Pan-African Congress against the effects of social Darwinism and the rising prejudices against African people. Many have resurrected slavery through the rubber trade and threatened Africans that if they do not meet the rubber quota, their own offspring's limbs would be cut off. Africa was left economically and socially damaged due to the colonization.
Since tax was to be a contributing factor of problems after World War II, Europeans began forcing Africans to work to pay off taxes with no other forms of payment. The goal of the Pan-African Congress is to obtain equality and standard for basic human rights. Congo was originally a free state until Belgium colonized the land and ripped away their freedom. Our goal is to encourage African people to stand and fight against new imperialism. The Pan-African Congress's origins came about as a result of the lack of consensus at the Africanist debate within the African National Congress. Our first meeting was also held in 1919 in London at Westminster Hall. The goal of the Pan-African Association was to unify Africa geographically. It was assembled in 1921 in London, then a month later in Brussels, Belgium. At both meetings, there were representatives from the Americas, Caribbean, Europe, and Africa.
During the time of the 19th and 20th centuries, Africa was to be stateless before the new idea of imperialism arose, causing many new conflicts and ideas to be upheld upon the new Pan-African Congress and Association. As you can observe in this portrait, the leader of the association was started by W.E.B. Du Bois, an activist, and Edith Gibbs Hunt as the main cause to be focused upon the fighting for colonization as well as against imperialism and demanding human rights. The Pan-African Congress allowed this to be made and to have clear effects, such as Africans allowed to be proud of who they are, as well as set a path not only for equality but better lifestyles for the African American race.
The Pan-African Congress had many effects, some long-lasting and others short-term. Africa was taken advantage of for their abundance of natural resources. Overall, the Congress led to many changes in the treatment of Africans. For example, more money was given to farmers and to schools, which led to the rising of many new leaders as well as more opportunities for all. The Congress spread beyond Africa into London, which was where their problems were coming from. This expansion of Congress allowed it to make an even larger, more compelling impact. The word Africa was originally given a negative connotation by racist Europeans. However, the Congress was able to make it a statement of pride. This was one of their most impactful accomplishments. They helped to end colonial rule, and this further led to the decolonization of Africa. Other key events were that slavery was abolished except in punishment or crime. There was also a major code of international protection laws of African natives. This event, although it not all happened at once, was monumental and would never have taken place without the help of the Pan-African Congress.
At its core, Pan-Africanism is the incorporation and connection of Africans as the world becomes more focused on competing and merging governments. It attempted to secure a place for people with African descent within the New World Order. Prior to the 21st century, Africans have tried to mix into the government and better its policies, and as you can see, the Pan-African Congress definitely played a major role in influencing future decisions. Eventually, we see the developments of many civil rights movements over the course of the centuries, and even still, today we are still fighting to live in a prejudice-free world with a centuries-long impact of racism reversed. The Pan-African Association matters in today's world because many movements, such as the Black Lives Matter protests, push for similar goals of what the association sought out to achieve. Not only has the Pan-African Association influenced the BLM movement, it also encouraged many other people of color to stand against racism. Although there have been substantial changes in how Black people are viewed and treated during the centuries in society, there is still much more progress and change that is needed to be made in order to create full justice and equality for all individuals.